for coming. My name is David Wojcik. I am the President and CEO of the Mississauga Board of Trade for the second time. So for some of you who remember me, thank you for remembering me. It's nice to be remembered. For those of you who don't know me, I'm here for a short period of time while we find our new CEO. So I'm filling in for that. And what a great time to be doing this when we have the Premier of Ontario coming to Mississauga. This event is made possible with the generous support of our partners, GSK, Toronto Pearson Airport, CN, Lakeview, Community Partners, Kaiser Mason Ball, Bayer, Sheridan College, and Can-Do Energy, Inc. We also extend our heartfelt thanks to each of you for joining us here today. I would now like to welcome the Mayor of the great city of Mississauga to the podium. Please welcome Mayor Carolyn Parrish.
Thank you, David. All those who live in Mississauga, how did you like your windrow clearing? Good morning. Thank you to the Mississauga Board of Trade for putting on yet another great event, and a special welcome to Mississauga for Premier Ford. We are fortunate to have a warm spirit of cooperation with the Premier and our local MPPs and with the provincial government. We don't fight with them anymore. Isn't that pleasant? I have to say, personally, I'm no stranger to the Premier. Like millions of other Ontarians, I have his cell phone number. What you don't know is I have the real cell phone number. And I use it fairly often. Not to complain, but to engage in dialogue, and he always answers. It is this exchange that makes the relationship between Queen's Park and Mississauga very strong. I'm out of breath. This is not a good thing. I have a new knee, and climbing stairs just knocks me out. It has been my mission to continue discussions with the Premier and Minister Flack, who's one of my favorite people on the earth, but how we can build homes faster. Our city has set an example by lowering development charges and other incentives to get homes built so that families in Mississauga can afford to buy a home or can afford to rent an apartment that will accommodate their families. We are on the brink of 11,000 new units. And I want to thank all the developers in the room for helping us get to that. The last time, you need audience training. When the person speaking takes a break, you're supposed to clap. The last time the Premier was at MBOT, we presented him with an axe to use on US tariffs, hoping he can put it to good use, perhaps cutting the PST for housing development. I've also been happy to have discussions with the Premier and his cabinet about regional governance, particularly on downloading regional services like roads and waste collection, saving our Mississauga taxpayers about $45 million a year. I've been focused on continuing to discuss what we can do to create more jobs. Just 2 months ago, it was my honor to stand with the Premier to announce the investment of more than $500 million from Leli Holdings, Inc. to upgrade and expand its existing facility to establish a new state-of-the-art bottling and packaging facility in Mississauga. That investment will create 275 good-paying jobs right here to support a new North American hub focused on plastic bottle manufacturing for in-demand products like tea, coffee, sparkling, and flavored waters. At a time when the US tariffs are disrupting Canadian workers and businesses, it's important we create an environment where this kind of major investment is encouraged, and I know our Premier is doing his part to bring more into Mississauga. These are tough times, but we are tougher. These are tough times, but like our provincial government, Mississauga's on a mission. These are tough times, but we remain boldly focused on our common prosperity. I want to thank the Premier for his visit today and all his support of our city. I want him to keep his cell phone charged and his wood stove in the basement burning. I will be calling him again very soon. Thank you for having me.
Morning, everyone, and welcome. Thank you, David, and the Mississauga Board of Trade for organizing such a wonderful event. I'm Sridhar Venkatesh, President and General Manager at GSK Canada. At GSK, we are a biopharma company, and we have big ambitions. Ambitions around uniting science, technology, and talent to fundamentally get ahead of disease. Now, our work in Canada is focused not just on treating illnesses, but fundamentally on preventing them, because we strongly believe preventing illnesses strengthens communities and builds economic resilience. GSK has been a part of Canada since 1902, with over 1,600 employees nationwide, many here in Mississauga. In our partnership with Mississauga Board of Trade has been essential. Its advocacy for competitiveness and economic growth helps create conditions where businesses like GSK thrive. Now, today's event reflects that mission by bringing leaders here together in the room. Since taking office, Premier Doug Ford has guided Ontario through rapid economic and social change amid growing global uncertainty. His leadership has emphasized strong collaboration, and we cherish that with industry, provinces, and national partners to strengthen economic resilience. As the chair of the Council of Federation in recent past, he united provinces at a very pivotal moment, reinforcing confidence in Canada's economy and thereby reducing reliance on the US. From the healthcare side, he removed barriers for healthcare workers trained in other provinces so that they can come and work here in Ontario, improving access to care during a time of significant challenge. Now, this commitment to strengthening the healthcare continues across the government through new investments in primary care training and incentives to attract and retain healthcare professionals. Now, today is World Cancer Day. And under Premier Ford's leadership, Ontario developed its first life science strategy and a program that was launched last October called FAST. Crucial program to fast-track cancer medications here in Canada or here in Ontario. And many of the other provinces are trying to mimic what's being done here. So we are very proud as an industry that Ontario has led this, and this is really phenomenal to happen here in Ontario. These are great initiatives that matter to patients when time matters most. Now, it's my great honor that I welcome the Premier of Ontario, the Honorable Doug Ford.
Sridhar, thank you for the very kind introduction and the great job you're doing over at GSK. Again, it's great to be back here in Mississauga. Mayor, I'm here almost every single day, going through here, visiting companies or friends, and I just want to thank Robin. Robin, I look forward to having a little sit-down chat with you, and David, thank you for the incredible job you're doing, and the entire board at the Mississauga Board of Trade. For the invitation today to speak to builders. Not physical builders, but building within Mississauga, building life science sector, the financial sector, the manufacturing sector, and obviously the homes. It's a pleasure here to be here with my great ministers. I always say I have the best team that's ever been assembled ever in Ontario. So here we go, ministers Kusadova, Tangri, Tabolo, alongside with parliamentary assistants Anand, Kazetto, Gulateri, and Sabawe, and our former MPP, Minister of Energy, Todd Smith. Smitty, where are you? Somewhere around there you are. Look at that beautiful smiling face, Smitty. He served Ontarians for many, many years. And of course, Mayor Parrish, we just have a phenomenal relationship. And I remember the mayor and George came over once and brought me a beautiful axe. So I have a little solarium, we hang out there, and I'm not going to get in deep into politics. All I can say, it is so refreshing to have a mayor that wants to work with you rather than against you. That's what I'll leave at that. But Mayor, you got to come over in the next week or so. I also want to acknowledge all the other elected officials, the city councilors here, and Chair Nando, thank you for doing a great job. Great chair of Peel Region. And so we're going to continue to visit the city of Mississauga and help out any way we can. And as I look around, I can't help but feel excited about the city's future. They were a few minutes late. They said they were going to get here 5 minutes ago, and they just arrived now. So thank you to my OPP and Peel Region. While President Trump's tariffs continue to create economic uncertainty, our government has a plan to protect Ontario by making our province the most resilient, self-reliant, and competitive economy in all of G7. So we can stand up to U.S. tariffs and anything else that comes our way. We're cutting red tape, streamlining. Do you know what I love, folks? How all of a sudden I'm in the middle of a sentence and the screens go blank. So then that's where I become dangerous. I go out and start talking off script. But we're cutting red tape and we're streamlining approvals, keeping taxes and fees low, and investing in workers. Because of our progress, we're saving businesses and families $12 billion each and every single year, and 1.8 million working hours. So I always say, rather than spending 1.8 million working hours filling out mounds of government paperwork, that's gone, which is great, and you can reallocate those folks to be more productive in a different area. That can be reinvested into more jobs and economic growth. Think of this, folks. We're the only government in Canada that I can remember. I've been in politics, our family, 3 decades, 3 generations, matter of fact, longer than 3 decades. We've never raised a tax. Think of that. Never, ever raised a tax. And I got to give a shout out to Mayor Parrish. Think of this. 1.8%. That is the lowest tax increase since Hazel McCallion. Remember that when the election comes up, because I give the mayor my full endorsement, because she's out there, she's cutting development charges, creating more opportunities to build homes. And I'm going to give you a comparison. Before Mayor Parrish came to office, Mississauga had the lowest per capita rate of building in all of Ontario. I think it was 2,500 homes. Now, Mayor Parrish and her great councillor, because you can't do anything without great councillors, they're predicting about 95,000 new builds. And that will create more opportunities, more homes for people, and as well, it's going to create new revenues. And that's what we did in the province. When we came into office, it was about a $150 billion budget. We're upwards to about 220 and change. We've seen $70 billion of more revenues coming in without ever raising a tax. And I'll never raise a tax. There's no reason to. I always say government doesn't have an income problem. They have a spending problem. And then we've seen $213 billion of new investments coming to Ontario since we've taken office, and over 1 million more people are working today than they were working back in 2018. We're leading the country in unlocking free trade across Canada and getting Canadian products to new markets around the world. Now, folks, Port of St. John, a lot of stuff goes to the Port of St. John, as with Premier Holt, and we've doubled the shipments. So you can see the plan is working to St. John, and that's being distributed everywhere in the world. So in 1 year, double the shipments are going out east, diversifying our trade. Over the past year, I've worked closely with premiers and the Prime Minister to make free trade a reality within Canada. The benefits of free trade in Canada are clear. It makes our country stronger, more resilient, more competitive, and more united, and more able to stand up to President Trump and his tariffs. There's only 2 good things that President Trump's ever done. Number 1, He woke us up, thank God, and now we're diversifying around the world, and he's united the country like I've never seen before. It doesn't matter. When we sit down, and I was with the premiers last week, you sit around the table, we have every political stripe there is. We all get along. We all speak from the same song sheet, and it's so great when everyone collaborates. And it can add, just think of this, folks, it can add $200 billion every year to Canada's economy. And before we even came up with this, like 98% of the people did not know there was a Canadian free trade agreement. They didn't realize you can't ship a bottle of wine from BC into Ontario. So we're changing that, and we're changing it in a big way. That's why we signed an agreement to unlock free trade with 10 other provinces and territories, and that's why Ontario has removed all of its party-specific exceptions under the Canadian Free Trade Agreement. We're making it easier for workers from other parts of the country to come to Ontario, to get certified quickly and get on the job without any delay. So if someone moves from let's say Alberta and is an electrician, it would take a big long delay. Now it's instant. So if you're a nurse, you're a doc, if you're an electrician or a tradesperson, you can make that move and get working right away. We're supporting mutual recognition of standards and approvals from other provinces and territories. Our government is also doubling down on more than $223 billion to build right across our province, which is the largest plan of its kind in Canadian history. And it includes highways, roads, bridges, transit, education, healthcare, and more to protect workers, jobs, and businesses and grow Ontario's economy. So we have the revenues we need. I always say, folks, the foundation of our healthcare system, of our infrastructure, of our education system is one thing. It's the economy. That's what pays for absolutely everything. And we're also going to continue investing big time into healthcare. It's massive. Every time I see Peter Bethenfalvy, my finance minister, which is the best finance minister ever, first thing out of his mouth, and my ministers know that, my caucus knows that, do you know how much we're spending on healthcare? And I always say, yes, we're investing, not spending. It's about $91 billion, and I think $90 billion of it is building the new hospital in Mississauga. Right, Carly? Where's Carly, the great CEO? Absolute champion of Trillium, thank you. I couldn't help myself, Carly. But I love you, and I think the world of you. You know, we're investing it back into the services that Ontario families rely on. And then just a couple quick stats. 100,000 new nurses, 30,000 nursing students in school as we speak, 16,000 new doctors, 28,000 new PSWs, and the list continues to go on. And we're going to continue investing in healthcare. You can see the progress we're making in every corner of the province, and especially here in Mississauga. We're building Highway 413 to cut travel times by an hour for each driver every single day. We're expanding access to fast and reliable transit. We're building the largest transit system in all of North America, and we're spending close to about $80 billion to build transit. We're moving forward on the Eglinton West LRT extension, and let me tell you folks, the West extension, we're 6 weeks ahead of schedule. Not the nightmare that is finally going to open up this weekend, the Eglinton Crosstown, and that was a nightmare, I'll tell you. Bringing the Eglinton Crosstown 9 kilometers further west into Etobicoke and Mississauga, and building the 19-stop Hazel McCallion line with planning underway to extend the LRT with a downtown loop. So to give you an idea, the Mississauga Hazel McCallion line was about $4.6 billion, and the loop is another about $1.6 billion. Connecting Mississauga's downtown core to new transit line. We're investing $60 billion to transform Ontario's healthcare system with projects like the Peter Gilligan Mississauga Hospital, and I got to thank Peter. There's no one between him and Carlo Fidani, there's no one in the entire country that donates more to hospitals than those two great people. And the renovation that's happening over at the hospital, which will reduce wait times, increase capacity, and improve access to world-class services for hundreds of thousands of patients in Peel Region. And by the way, folks, Trillium will be the largest hospital in the entire country. So thank you. We're increasing access to primary care in Mississauga as part of our $2.1 billion primary care action team. And I want to thank Dr. Philpott and Sylvia Jones for moving that forward, which is on track to connect every single person in Ontario to primary care in another probably 3-4 years, 2029. To ensure families have affordable homes, we've invested more than $164 million in municipalities across Peel Region, including over $44 million in the city of Mississauga through our municipal housing infrastructure program, all to support the construction of 95,000 new homes throughout Peel. You know, Mayor, you'd be so proud of me. When I was there with all the premiers and the Prime Minister, all I was doing is hammering about this HST. Just think of that, folks. If we could take another 13%. Now, we've done it for first-time home buyers, and I told our team and I told the Prime Minister, it's not moving the needle, and it never moved the needle. So we're going to do it, hopefully, for anyone. If you want to buy your second time buying or third time, we're getting rid of that 13% right across the board. And we have a plan to work with cities and different municipalities to get rid of those development charges. I'm not going to name, I talked to Peter the other day talking about one of the largest builders in the country. And I'm not going to name the cities. I can tell you it wasn't Mississauga. Before they get the shovels in the ground, 2 cities, he pointed out, it's 51 and 52% of fees and taxes before the shovels get in the ground. So you're buying $1 million home, which is nothing nowadays. Just imagine getting it for $500,000. And then you get the 13% rebate on top of that. That's what we need to do. We need to bring down the fees. And the other thing I'm hearing is a couple of those cities, hearing the rumor that the feds and the province are going to take care of some DCs, I can tell the municipalities, not Mississauga, because they're doing a great job reducing it, it's not going to come easy. Like, you don't think they're going to raise the fees knowing that we're going to do it, you're going to get a big refund. We're going to support the municipalities that want to pitch in and lower those fees. And speaking of homes, I want to give a big shout out again to Mayor Parrish, who's been an absolute champion for the people of Mississauga. Mayor Parrish has been leading the way to reduce municipal development charges, as I just mentioned, and fast-track development in the city. And we will continue pressing other mayors to follow, to do the same as what Mayor Parrish is doing here in Mississauga, to follow her example so we can keep the goal of home ownership alive for the next generation of young people. I just want to thank each and every one of you. I just want to thank each and every one of you for everything that you do. It's like a big wheel. You take one of the spokes out and it doesn't work. So, and I always say to my colleagues in the U.S., I said, you know, in the U.S., you've heard the saying, 6 degrees of separation. In Ontario, it's 1 degree of separation. Anyone can connect to anyone over one phone call, and isn't that beautiful? We have the greatest jurisdiction anywhere in the entire world. And together, I know we can stand up to anything that comes our way. I want to thank you for coming today, and may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Premier, we're so delighted to have you back here at the Mississauga Board of Trade. This is the 5th consecutive time you've come back to join us.
I love Mississauga.
You're always welcome back, you know that.
Thank you. Thank you.
There are over 450 business people in this room right now here to speak.
Yeah, they're just imagine if you added up all their employees too. That's hundreds of thousands of employees. Yeah. And I hear we have some great folks in the life science here as well.
We have a fabulous life sciences. I'm not going to jump to that question yet, though. Okay. I'm going to save save that for the end if you don't mind.
Okay, not a problem.
But I am passionate about life sciences, and I do see a direct correlation between healthier economies equal healthier people. And that's not that I'm bad at math, Premier. I actually think it's interchangeable between the two. So there is no shortage of questions that I'd love to ask you today. But maybe we'll start a little bit around the municipality. So the Mississauga Board of Trade was very excited. Actually, yesterday, Mayor Parrish and other councillors invited us to come and have a chat with them on some of the things that they've been working with your government on, and some of the support from the business community. And one of the things that rose to kind of the discussion around infrastructure, fiscal responsibility, and municipal capacity was recently highlighting that this is in Mississauga, as you kind of highlighted, it's a $61 billion economy that we have here.
Yes.
And it is very diverse. We're hearing municipalities are increasingly absorbing the responsibilities for roads, stormwater, waste collection, and community assets. How does your government plan to balance continued infrastructure investment with fiscal discipline while ensuring municipalities like Mississauga have long-term funding certainty and tools needed to download responsibilities without compromising services or competitiveness?
So when you say download, we've never downloaded anything unless the city wants it. And as the mayor will say, you want the roads. What is it, about $400 and some odd million they're gonna save because they've been built out. You can't say the same about Caledon because they're still building. But we feel we're putting together a system with collaboration and cooperation from the city to actually save money. And I want to emphasize again, without the cooperation of the cities that's going to save them money, we've never downloaded absolutely anything. I think we're one of the only provincial governments that haven't put the burden on municipalities. There's no government in the history of Ontario that has supported municipalities more than we have, no matter if it's on the healthcare side or the infrastructure side, and supporting them on building transit as well. The $4.6 billion Hazel McCallion line and the loop as well, and along with the 413 that's going to help people get from point A to point B a lot faster.
Really do appreciate the call out to the loop. That was one of our discussions as well. So I think we're excited to see that and the evolution of that. Maybe just to stay on this topic a little bit. So in Peel specifically, what principles do you think should guide the realignment and the outcomes to kind of look at accountability and economic performance?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think Nando is doing a great job as chair, and we have to start giving more responsibility to the cities, especially on planning, and stop the duplication, and Nando's doing that and working well with the cities. So before we'd have, planning from Mississauga, and then they'd go up to the region and more planning. You don't need to duplicate government. We have too much government as it is. So that's one of the areas of responsibility. And again, going back to the roads, water, wastewater. I forget the number, but they said in Peel at one time, and Nando, you'd probably know better than I would, they had 57 different contracts for picking up garbage. It's ridiculous, or somewhere around that number. And so we're changing that. We're going to work, again, collaboratively. There's nothing better than when you work hand in hand with the municipality and the federal government and the province. When we all work together, we're unstoppable. And again, I don't care if you're from the green, orange, red, blue team, purple team, whatever team. We just want to work with you and make sure that we move forward in a collaborative way.
So, Premier, I'm going to tell you, I love that. When I took over as chair, there were 3 things that I wanted to accomplish, which was collaboration, collective success, and community. I doubt you read that article. You have way too much going on. But thank you for saying that, because it is what the Mississauga Board of Trade wants to strive to do, and working with partners like yourself and Mayor Parrish and several others. How do we support our community and our businesses in turn? So we look forward to those opportunities to engage on that.
Absolutely.
So maybe let's chat a little bit around, and you touched on it in your speech, around trade, tariffs, and economic resilience. So Mississauga is one of the most trade-dependent cities with deep integration into U.S. supply chains across manufacturing, energy, life sciences, and logistics.
Yes.
As Ontario advances its AMCAN economic alliance, amid renewed tariff risk and geopolitical uncertainty, what concrete steps is your government taking to safeguard those cross-border trade, the exporters, and ensuring Ontario businesses, particularly those in Mississauga, remain competitive in the U.S. market?
Well, that's a fantastic question. I think I mentioned it in my speech about the Canadian Free Trade Agreement. That's even larger in a lot of cases than our NAFTA agreement, or CUSMA, if you want to call it CUSMA agreement. And it's just allowing free trade amongst provinces that will add about anywhere from 4 to 6% to our GDP in the country. So that's one step, but also onshoring as many products that we can. You know, I have many salespeople. I always say each one of us out there are salespeople for the province, for your company, and that's the same with my great caucus. But number one, Nina Tangri is an absolute champion. She focuses on the small businesses, which makes up 90-some-odd% of employment. So thank you, Nina. And she made a great announcement. It was yesterday, I believe, for $2 million when there's succession within a family and how you go through it. And so that's great, Nina. I have another great salesperson, Vic Fideli. He travels around the world and attracts billions of dollars of investment. Last year alone, we've attracted over $28 billion of investment, creating 56,000 new jobs. And altogether, we've seen over $213 billion of investment. And I'll tell you the reason why we see this investment coming. And I talked to Vic yesterday, and he said, Premier, I can't wait to show you the list again. We have billions of dollars of investment that is coming to Ontario this year. So I look forward to seeing that list. But the way we do it is, number one selling feature are the talent of the people. The talent of the 85,000 STEM graduates that leads North America. We have the highest educated population anywhere in North America, and especially the G7. But I always say you got to create the climate and the conditions for companies to come here, and they'll thrive and prosper. When they hear that it's a pro-business government and we've never raised taxes and we're there to cut red tape, that's what attracts companies. It's like a beacon of light on the hill. That's Vic's favorite word. That's what people around the world says. And the other important thing that no one really talks about, which is very important, is the rule of law. We have the rule of law in this country, unlike some countries. And that just kind of, I wouldn't want to go to some of those countries. But in saying that, we've created the conditions in the environment to get things moving faster, quicker, immediate. That's my message to all the cities. That's my message to the federal government and the provinces. We're in a race and a tough fight, especially with our American friends. And by the way, our American friends are our friends. I talk to senators and governors and congresspeople every day. They love Canadians. And I always tell them we love the U.S. I just don't like one guy down there. That's it. Or maybe a couple guys down there too. But in saying that, we just have to move on and start onshoring everything we possibly can. So the cans that you get your vegetables in, Ron Bedard, which is a great CEO of DeFasco, told me one day that they ship truckloads of tin down to the U.S. and in California to convert it into cans, and then ship empty cans all the way back up. It's just common sense. Why aren't we making cans here? So we made a great announcement in Brantford. The Mississauga, one of the big can manufacturers in Europe, is investing, I think it's about $70 million to produce cans. And that's the same as aluminum too. too. These are just two small items. Aluminum cans. Yes, we have a small aluminum can manufacturer here, but when the big beverage companies and the big beer companies are telling me, one company told me they're spending $200 million to buy empty cans off the U.S. and ship them up, well, we're giving incentives to can manufacturers to expand and produce cans here, creating jobs, and steel beams. Up in Algoma, we're investing in Algoma to produce steel beams. And keep in mind, folks, yes, the building sector, it's a tough sector right now, but on the industrial, commercial, we still have more cranes in the air in Toronto and GTA than all top 10 cities combined in the U.S. So even if it's a little slow, we're still way ahead of our U.S. partners, but we're going to onshore every single product we possibly can because there's nothing we can't build here.
So Premier, So, Premier, we're going to talk about life sciences.
Yes. So how many life science companies? I heard our friend from GSK.
Yes. Well, I think we have a ton in the room if they want to put up their hands. I know we've got a lot of sponsorship. See, feel very blessed to be surrounded.
I met some folks from Bayer.
Yes, we've got
Is
some Bayers.
AstraZeneca here?
GSK. I do see some AstraZeneca.
Oh, beautiful. Well, they're
Yes.
great, just fabulous companies. And yes.
And we feel really blessed, I'm going to tell you, Premier, working with your government on the phase 1 and the phase 2 strategy for the life sciences. I think Jason Field might be in the room from Life Sciences Ontario as well. We've really enjoyed the engagement with industry on this, and you mentioned in your speech, there are some really big milestones that we've hit in Ontario from the medtech sector. So there's 41 medtech companies within Mississauga, BD Canada being one of them.
Yes.
We are very excited about the Health Innovation Pathway.
Yes.
How cool is that?
It's amazing.
Innovative technologies.
Yeah. And they mentioned FAST.
Yes, let's talk
FAST
about
is something that we've been pushing in the province and bringing the other provinces and territories along rather than waiting for years, and I say years sometimes to get approval. We want to get these life-saving drugs to market immediately. And I think we announced 6 the other day.
Yes, you did.
That's going to cut down the time in half from 2 years down to 1 year. So that's what really attracts companies to come here, is cut the red tape and the regulations. And in Health Canada, that can take 100 years, I'm exaggerating on that, but pretty close, to get stuff approved. We want to streamline it, and we figure if it's good enough for our American friends or over in the UK or Europe, it's good enough for Canadians. So let's start moving faster. That's what attracts companies.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So I will tell you, as part of the team at Roche Canada, we were able to bring 500 jobs here to Canada. Those are some of the
$500 million.
questions. Yes.
And AstraZeneca as
Yes,
well.
and
Massive
AstraZeneca
investment,
recently.
massive investments.
And those are the questions that we do get asked by global counterparts and such. So the global marketplace, it's really shifting. It's moving. It's fast. We're doing really innovative things in here. What's the next step? What are we going to do? Is it life sciences plan number 3?
No, well, I always look at continuous improvement, but we can't do it without the sector. So we'll be settling down with the sector and say, what can we do to make things move quicker? I know one thing that attracts a lot of life science companies here is the talent that we have here. We're second to none, absolutely second to none. And we're going to keep moving, investing in our great colleges. I see Dr. Mohammed over there, and he's just an absolute champion with the new medical school and bringing more docs and nurses on. So we're going to continue investing in our young people.
That's amazing. And we have several members from the educational community that are all with us, and definitely lean into the Mississauga Board of Trade for discussions.
Sheridan's here somewhere.
Sheridan is here.
I'm a big fan. Yes, there you are. Sorry, I saw you right in front of me. I'm just a big fan of our colleges and universities.
Well, we're excited. So I know the life sciences industry would be excited to engage with your government on what that next kind of step looks like.
Absolutely.
Well, Premier, our time together has wrapped up. I've really
Boy, that
enjoyed
was
this.
quick.
But I know. Do you want another question?
Oh, no, I just want to tell everyone in the room, I always look at the glass as half full. We never have to take a back seat to anyone, and we sure the heck don't have to take a back seat to President Trump. We're going to continue diversifying our trade. We're going to create that climate and conditions I was talking about for attracting new companies here, because we live in the greatest jurisdiction in the entire world, bar none. We didn't even touch on the energy and the critical minerals. That's a driver worldwide that we're leaving. And I know I call him Smitty, but Smitty started it off, and I know Minister Lecce is taking off from where Minister Smith had. But we're leaders in the world in the G7. We're leaders in the world. We have more critical minerals than anywhere in the entire world. We have the most diverse economy anywhere in the entire world, no matter if it's a life science or the massive sectors, the ag sector, the auto sector, the financial sector, the tech sector is massive. And we have some of the largest sectors, again, in the entire world. So folks, we're going to get through this. We're going to keep moving. We're going to fight like we've never fought before. Again, I want to thank you. Anyone who needs anything, call me on my cell phone, and I will, honestly. I get about 800 to 1,000 a day, but call me on my cell phone. It's on the internet, and I'll do my very best to get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello, and thank you so much, David, Robin, for the thoughtful discussion here today, and for all the great work with the Mississauga Board of Trade and everything that you do. And thank you, Premier Ford, for your keynote speech today. And special thanks for what you're doing for this province, your determination, and of course we love his unique down-to-earth charm. And as I work at the airport, I know that the speech has landed really well with all of you as well. We're all here today because we know these are challenging times and we need to work together. So let me tell you a little bit about how Pearson is helping to connect the region, our province, and our country and keep it connected. Connecting people to destinations, connecting cargo to new markets, including the bio trade here as well, connecting economic opportunities with jobs and growth. We call this connectivity the Pearson Economic Zone, which includes the airport, Peel, Toronto, and regions of Halton and York. Premier, we are the job zone. And as I was listening very carefully to his speech today, I can confirm that this is probably one of his favorite zones, maybe next to Etobicoke, because we are all about jobs and more jobs. Our Pearson Economic Zone supports more than 500,000 jobs in 18,000 businesses. Inside the zone, we have the largest concentration of manufacturing in all of North America. So we need to tell that to our American friends. And the main economic engine, of course, is Pearson Airport, which contributes $20 billion to GDP in Canada. Not to mention the $7.5 billion that's generated in tax revenues for all three levels of government. So we need to tell that to Peter Bethenthal as well. All of that economic energy comes from 50,000 hardworking people who are our neighbors, your friends, your taxpayers, working every day at our airport. And that's why it's so important to protect and strengthen the Pearson Economic Zone in the same way that the Premier, you and your government are working hard to protect Ontario. But that's just the story so far, and let me give you a sneak peek at what Pearson is doing next for the airport. Stay tuned for Pearson Lift. It's an ambitious expansion of our airport that will create thousands of new industrial infrastructure jobs and strengthen Ontario's long-term growth in a time of economic uncertainty.
We're doing this together across all levels of government. And as the government here knows, we're working together to bring the proposed new Defense, Resilience, and Security Bank to Toronto as well. There's a number of things that we're doing. As Pearson, we know that major investment can be mobilized here, and that our economic zone can turn that investment into positive, profitable outcomes. None of this can happen without every single one of you here today. So in closing, I'd like to thank the Premier and everyone on his team for bringing Ontarians together, business, labor, government leaders, to protect Ontario. To the Mississauga's Board of Trade, thank you so much for getting us all up a little extra early this morning and hosting such a great event. And to all of you for the ongoing support, not just for the airport, but for the tens of thousands of essential workers who keep Pearson running safely and effectively every single day, even in those snow days and the extreme cold. So let's continue to work together, all of us, to grow business and investment. Thank you, and safe travels.